Good evening to everyone, to all the distinguished participants, to our distinguished guest for today, Thomas Abraham, who's kindly consented to speak today, talk to us, interact with all of us, and also good morning and good afternoon to people who have joined from other areas, other parts of the continent, other parts of the areas where there is a time zone difference. Sama Audit Systems and Software started this initiative Analytics Wednesday this is the 26th edition, the 26th webinar to be held, which we are holding it every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. The recordings are available at the Sama YouTube channel. If someone wants to have a look at all the previous 25 recordings. Sama Audit Systems and Software Private Limited in the last 20 years has been dealing with audit technology, audit software and software for finance professionals, training, and of course, bringing the latest technology in, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is machine learning, whether it is analytics, whether it is continuous control monitoring for auditors and finance professionals. So the flagship product is IDEA, which is there with the government sector, the NGOs, the private sector, the chartered accountant firms in the country. It has become the #1 analytics tool for the audit fraternity in the country. You have got Smart Exporter, which is a ETL for getting data from SAP. You've got LSA, which is continuous control monitoring technology for finance professionals and for operations and for auditors. And of course, from 1st April this year, we have launched Caseware working papers in the country, where 30 firms are already using it, and more firms are getting onto the bandwagon, where it's a entire solution, end-to-end solution for statutory auditors. So I think with that, let me introduce the speaker to you. I know Thomas Abraham is a very good friend, a very good professional, but I would like to formally introduce him. And before that, let me just say that this program is supported by the Government of Canada, by the Trade Commissioner Service. Earlier, prior to COVID, we used to hold events in the High Commission in Canada and the Canadian Embassy in Delhi, where we had a few workshops which were held, where chief internal auditors and other professionals were invited in the embassy, and where we had a lot of deliberations and interactions on professional issues. Now, I would formally like to introduce Thomas Abraham. Presently, he is the Managing Director, India and Southeast Asia, Hexa Global Ventures. He is a founder, T Ventures and HR2 Tech. Today's topic, which is going to talk about, is unraveling trends in technology and analytics for HR. Now, it's unique coming from him because he's been supporting companies in HR for technology and analytics and taking them to the market in India and also abroad. So that's his forte. That's his specialization, I would say, in the last 4 or 5 years that I've known him. So, and he's pretty successful at that, incubating those companies, giving advice, helping the promoters, and then taking them to the market. Now, I would like to just formally introduce him. Thomas Abraham advises SaaS companies on their business strategy, go-to-market, strategic alliances, and global expansion. His portfolio as founder of T Ventures and HR2 Tech includes businesses with innovative products and solutions in human capital management, learning experience, talent acquisition, employee experience, HR analytics, conversational AI, virtual customer engagement, product analytics, and blockchain infrastructure as a service. So I think the entire range, what is the trend today and how HR companies would like to go global. So I think he has recently partnered with Hexa Global Ventures, a business accelerator based in the US, to develop and execute on the US entry strategy for SaaS companies. So such company promoters should immediately get in touch with Thomas. Thomas has over 30 years of experience across technology startups, fintech, application software, digital information services, telecom, travel, financial services, advertising and consumer products. And in his corporate leadership role, he has worked with global teams as managing director, Walter Kluwer's Tax and Accounting and Sage Software. He has a YouTube channel, Musings with Thomas Abraham. That is a collection of thought leadership discussion with founders and business leaders on future of sales and HR tech. I watch that regularly when Thomas puts out those clips, very informative, cutting edge technology and very informative. Thomas is a graduate of St. Stephen's College and MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi. So I think over to you, Thomas, to please enlighten us, talk to us and guide us on this topic.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deepji, for that very rousing introduction. And it's really an honor, to be here today, and a privilege, to be able to speak to this great audience. In fact, my own journey into HR technology was accidental, and I always thought that HR was a function for a bunch of backroom, personnel. Until 5.5 years ago, when I was introduced to an HR tech startup by an investment banker to help advise them, and that really got me excited, and then that's where my journey in HR tech started. And honestly, who would have thought that HR will be a center of innovation? In fact, this is one of the amazing predictions for 2021. Said by none other than the guru of HR technology, Josh Bersin. In fact, it's amazing how in the last 24 odd months there's been a dramatic shift as far as innovation is concerned in HR, and it gives us an opportunity to really look at every single people-related practice. Be it hiring, be it performance management, or employee engagement, learning, career pathing, what have you. And it gives an opportunity for us to innovate at every level, really, which is really amazing, And clearly, every company must innovate its HR and leadership practices, because actually the way we manage people is changing so rapidly. And that's really why HR technology and analytics are among the hottest topics today, for a lot of, CXOs. And it's also important for us to know that HR technology and analytics are actually intertwined, because technology helps you automate a lot of things, but the state-of-the-art technology is also, pulling out a lot of data and presenting a lot of data for you, which needs to be analyzed. So when we talk about HR technology, there is a lot of inbuilt analytics as well. And we're going to talk about all this. And all these analytics needs to be actionable as well for them to actually make sense. The other interesting trend is that, we started, 18 months ago with work from home scenario, and then it became a work from anywhere scenario. And now we are moving into a hybrid work model. And therefore, what's also happened is that HR technology and work technology are now getting more and more synonymous. So, there are huge amount of shifts that are actually happening. So before I get started further, I would really encourage all of us to keep this interactive. So please feel free to ask me questions on the fly. As I see them in the Q&A box or in the chat box, I will sort of try and answer them so that we have this session really interactive. Otherwise, we may have a lot of drop-offs to go and watch the Scotland versus Namibia T20 game instead. So, friends, what are some of the trends in 2021 as far as technology and analytics around HR is concerned? There are several trends, but I've decided today to pick 5 trends which I'm very passionate and excited about. The first trend really is that in 2021, we will see a new war for talent. That's really amazing because a lot of research done by EMSI and LinkedIn has shown that in markets like the US, for instance, the number of open jobs is as high as it was pre-pandemic days. And I'll come to the India scenario as well shortly. Also, economic productivity is at an all-time high. And then what this really means is that for key roles and specific geographies, there is a massive demand for people. And people will be competing for talent like never before. What's also happened in the pandemic is that there's been a structural change in the workforce. So there's been about 3.2 million baby boomers in the US who have retired. Likewise, a lot of women and non-college educated workforce, people have left the workforce. And the entire concept of contract workers and gig workforce has actually, grown in a very, very significant way. Now, coming closer to home, I was reading recently, just 3 days ago in the Economic Times, about some trends in hiring as far as the IT sector is concerned. There's been a massive spike in terms of demand because of global digital transformation that's happening across enterprises. So a lot of IT services companies in India, which had plenty of people on the bench, are now very, very actively hiring. That's one really trend, one scenario that we've seen. The other thing is that there are over 60 global multinationals who are setting up their, technology back office centers in India, which is again leading to a very significant spike. There've been over 900 technology startups which have received funding to the tune of about $27 billion in India alone, and there's a huge amount of technology hiring that's really happening there. So, I mean, likewise, in quite a few other sectors as well, there is a fair amount of hiring happening. But the point that I really want to make here is that the challenge in talent acquisition exists everywhere. For instance, we may have a scenario where there's a boom in jobs, and there's plenty of talent available. That's really one scenario. The other scenario is that there is a major growth in jobs, but there's a shortage of talent, right? Despite having a flood of resources. Now, either way, it's a big challenge, right? Because in the first instance, you've got lots of jobs you need to hire, and second instance, you have fewer jobs but lots of people. But then, how do you find the right talent, right? So, talent acquisition as a technology capability, as far as HR is concerned, is really at the forefront of innovation, and perhaps one of the major focus areas as far as HR technology is concerned. Now, I thought I'll just dive a little deep, and the intent today will be to dive a little deep into some of these technologies so that we have a little more clarity about what are we talking about as far as technology is concerned, why is it really relevant, and how does analytics really fit in. So if I look at talent acquisition, there are 4 broad areas, right, which a lot of enterprises look at. The first is really what we call as sourcing of candidates, right? So how do you really automatically source candidates from job boards, from your own career page, from existing CVs that have been historically lying with you? And how do you pull them into a common repository and match them against specific job descriptions that you have, JDs that you have, right? So that's really the first, that's really the first piece, which is sourcing. And, there are technologies like parsers now that are available, which are very commonly used, which helps you look at CVs, look at job descriptions, and extract relevant information like, beyond name and address and phone numbers into things like your skill sets, your, certifications, job experience, and so on and so forth. And so that's really the first step. The second is, how do you intelligently connect with people who come to your career site and apply for jobs, right? That's another source. And the third is that you perhaps have you have a repository of CVs lying with you in what we call as applicant tracking systems. And many of these CVs have got stale over a period of time. So how can AI and technology play a role to really refresh these CVs? Because a lot of your updated information is available on social sites like LinkedIn and elsewhere. And there are technologies available which can come and refresh it without you coming back and reapplying and updating your own CV. So that's really the first part, which is sourcing. And there is a lot of real cool technology which does all that I actually spoke about. The second thing is a very cool area, which is called matching, which is that how do you match these CVs against specific job descriptions? So for instance, against a particular job, one job, you may have got 100 CVs. So without really manually going over them, how do you determine what are the top 5 CVs? Today, there's technology available which really does what is called matching and ranking. So it matches and ranks CVs against JDs. So as a recruiter, you only need to look at what are the top 5 or 10 CVs. You don't really have to even look at the rest of the CVs. That's again some amazing technology which is available. The third is, how do you engage with them, engage with your candidates, right? Because if you got a large number of candidates who are applying, today people are using AI to actually pre-screen these candidates. So there are chatbots, cognitive chatbots, which will go start conversations with these candidates, ask them basic questions, qualify them, do some pre-screening, and constantly engage them, because you might need to call them for an interview and so on and so forth. And also linked to all this is also the entire concept of how do you remove bias. So technology today also helps you remove bias against, to ensure that there is diversity, equity, and inclusion in your entire hiring process, which is a very hot topic worldwide. And finally, how do you qualify candidates? And here again, automation is done through chatbots, which can come and interview candidates, one-on-one, ask the right questions, and this is all intelligently structured. So there is very little human interaction that's happening. Now, I just want to talk about a small case study here to make this a little more interesting. And there's a very exciting company that I came across by the name of MapRecruit. And I just want to talk about one small use case here, which is that if you land on a career page of a company and you're applying, right, for a particular job, then how does that entire flow happens? So what really happens is that, and the AI powered, you would come to the career page, you would upload your CV for a current position or for a future position. The AI chatbot automatically parses the CV, and based on the relevant information available in the CV, it would direct you to the appropriate open position that is available, right? And then it will also nudge you and tell you that, hey, would you like to take an interview right away, right? So there is an automated interview that can happen right away, then and there, right? It saves a lot of time and pain for everybody. If not, it can fix a time at an appropriate time to come back and have you interviewed, right? So what it really does is that it takes away a lot of pain of recruiters and automates the entire talent acquisition process. And that's a huge benefit for a lot of enterprises, because otherwise they need to do all this manually and have large teams actually doing this. So this is one piece of technology which is transformational, and I think given the war for talent that we're going to see increasingly in 2021 and beyond, talent acquisition platforms are going to be really mission critical for a lot of organizations. So that's really the first trend that I see happening. And I'd be very interested to know from the audience, if your organizations are seeing challenges in hiring, in talent acquisition, and what kind of technologies are you perhaps looking at? And analytics is all part of this, right? Because while you have the technology engine doing its piece at one end, there's a lot of data sets coming out, right, about these candidates and so on, which needs to be analyzed as well. So as I said before, analytics and technology are really fit in are really hand in glove as far as HR tech is concerned. The second trend that I wanted to talk about, which is very exciting, is this entire trend around human resource management platforms or human capital management platforms. And and this is something which I'm sure all your organizations have implemented. I'm sure all the organizations you're working for have some HCM platform or have some HRMS platform, right? But I think the trend really is that these are going to grow, but they will be redefined. So gone are the days when you stuck to one path. Now you need to redefine the way you look at your HRMS platform. And why is this happening? Because people are moving away from operational HRMS to something which is more intuitive, so something which is more predictive, and they would like to cover more areas of the various touch points as far as employees are concerned. And this includes areas like performance, engagement, learning, and so on. So there are two things that are happening as a trend. One is that we are seeing some of the big players building some of these capabilities, but this might all take a long time. So we are also seeing a lot of acquisitions happening in this space. So that's the other trend that we're seeing. But linked to this is the fact that if you are a state-of-the-art HRMS platform, then you need to have an open architecture, because in the early days, people had closed architecture. They wanted to do everything themselves, but those days are gone. Today, it's all about what we call an ecosystem play. Like, I have my platform, but I need to be able to talk to a whole lot of third-party platforms to really add value to my customer. So I think open architecture is something that we're going to see more and more. And this is because there are several best of breed niche players in areas like talent acquisition, engagement, learning, performance, so on and so forth. And you might find that a company may say, I will take this particular HRMS, but I want the best of breed niche systems. And then I want an integration into my HRMS as well. So that's really the first thing that's happening.
Thomas,
in fact,
sorry,
yeah.
I think you said we could ask you a question now. The question which comes up is, how does a mid-sized company, maybe I'm in touch with you, so we talk and we know about things happening in the market, but how does a mid-sized company go out, or how does a chief internal auditor or a CFO of a mid-sized company go out and hunt for such technology in the marketplace? What will be, how does one start to hunt for such technology, to be employed in the company?
No, I think that's a great question, because the way I see it is that the penetration of HR technology in India, for instance, is extremely low. So the first step that I would advise any CXO at any organization is to see, can you have a basic HRMS system in place, right? There are over 100 HRMS platforms in India, and they're all easily accessible and available. But it's important for you to really figure out what are the first areas of operation that you wish to automate. So if you look at the journey of organizations, people would start perhaps with automating payroll first, right? Then they automate the workforce. They want attendance to be in place and so on and so forth. So you start with the basics. But what we are now seeing is that organizations who are forward-looking, who are growing fast, are looking at this exponentially. They're saying that HRMS used to be a system of record in the past, but now it's a system of engagement, it's a system of prediction, and it's a system of the future, right? So they are now quickly saying that payroll, all that is passé, it's a given. I want to see that what are the pain areas that I'm facing, with this hybrid model that's coming in. Employees are really the key. And I'm coming to that. I'll be touching upon that in some more detail. So there are plenty of HRMS systems. So my advice would be, first find a good HRMS system, and then identify what are the other pain points that you have and how do you want to fix it. Does the HRMS have that solution, or should you go out and look for point solutions? And there are plenty of them in the Indian market today, all made in India solutions, interestingly. Yeah. So does that answer your question, Deepji?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So the second thing that I want to refer to here, as I mentioned, was that HR tech is becoming more and more work tech, right? So what is work technology? And I just thought I'll clarify this a little bit, because a lot of progressive companies in India are looking at work technology, right? So work technology really comprises of three areas. One is HR technology, which is really technology for managing your employees. The second part is collaboration in the workplace. And we've all now been using plenty of technologies for collaborating, be it Teams, Zoom, Slack, and so on and so forth. And the third is productivity of the workforce, which is, host of CRM platforms, project management tools, and so on and so forth. So really now, people now talk about work technology because they want everything integrated and they want a single view. So that's really the new trend which is happening. The other thing, as far as HRMS platforms is concerned, is something very exciting, is that they now need to provide a layer of data analytics, right? Because this is the first thing that a CXO or a CEO in a company is asking, and that's his or her prime interest. So today, when you go and present a platform or a solution to a C-suite executive, the first question they ask is, I'd like to take a look at your data analytics. Now, what do you really have there? And interestingly, most people are fairly weak in that particular area. And why is this important? Because today people are sort of having multiple systems, and the C-suite executive would like to really have a consolidated view. So clearly, data is a new fuel, right? Now, having said that, really it comes with its own challenges because there are so many complexities, and I will talk about it as we move forward. But one of the things that emerged in my several conversations with head of HR, CHROs of many enterprises was that, all these companies have several niche solutions today, right? They have 10 or more solutions. And each of these solutions, has a dashboard, right? So it's so challenging for a CHRO or anybody in HR or any business leader to start looking at all these disparate dashboards. So they're saying, can I have a consolidated view? Number one, and can I have a view which relates these components? So for example, how do you correlate learning with engagement? How do you correlate engagement with performance? Now, these could be all disparate systems and disparate ways of measuring. But at the CEO level or the CXO level, I would like to see the correlation between these various components. So data analytics is really now at the forefront. As far as so a lot of HRMS players are struggling because they've got basic dashboards and they're really trying basic reporting, but they don't have anything which is very sophisticated, which does deep analytics, which gives deep insights. Because one is to have a lot of data, but a lot of data can be very confusing. What do you make of this data, right? Is somebody telling you, is it converting it into simple English, right? So that you're able to understand what am I supposed to do, right? So I think that's the other big challenge. And I was speaking the other day to a UK-based analytics and insights firm in the HR space by the name of Active8, and they actually echoed the same sentiment because their strategy, and they offer a very high-end analytics and insights platform which extracts data and derives insights in simple English so that you know what you have to do with the data, and it nudges you so that you ensure that the action is done, and it also helps you to collaborate with other people to make sure that you are actually able to action it. So I think and their strategy is really to go and integrate with all these HRMS platforms because today the HRMS platform is at the center. You may have several niche solutions. You pull all that data into the HRMS and pull that into a platform like Active8, which then creates absolute magic for you. So that's really the other big trend which is now happening as well. Okay, now the other trend as far as HCM platforms is concerned is that it also now has to be mobile first, because it's all about user experience, right? And most of the millennials and Gen Z users are used to a lot of consumer apps. So now there's a lot of pressure on what we call as consumerization of enterprise applications. And here mobility is really upfront. So I think people really now want everything on the mobile. So gone are the days when you would first develop a web app and then you would think about doing a mobile app. Now, a lot of companies are saying, let's first do a mobile app because that's what consumers will actually use. So that's the other big trend which is happening. And then let's not forget voice, because today there are over 40 million households that use Alexa or Google listening devices. And people would like to now start using voice rather than using their mouse pad for actually getting things done as far as technology is concerned. And the final point on this really is that I think again talking about data analytics at a very high level, at a very transformation level, is really that how do you provide actionable intelligence from aggregated data, right? So for instance, today you would like to know at an industry level, right? If you are a company and you're using a certain platform, you would like to know at an industry level what are churn rates, what are retention rates, what are salary levels and things of that kind. What are the various, so, and you need to have some benchmarks. So I think the ability of technology platforms to be able to use aggregated data to derive insights and provide guidance to organizations will be a significant plus. And that's another big trend that I see happening. So clearly, as I mentioned, data analytics is at the forefront of technology because that's the only way you can actually make sense of all that data which is being thrown at you. So I'll be very interested to know, from if some of you could really put your comments around, how you are using HRMS platforms. I know Deepji asked about, how people can get HRMS platforms, but if you're using HRMS platforms, how are you using them? And if some of these points that I mentioned is actually resonating with you. Right? So
I think you're free to, I think the participants are free to put in the questions in the chat box and then we can, take it from there.
Yeah, so I think there's a question here from Raj. And his question is, can HR analytics be leveraged to build, manage, and report on new recruit EQ and IQ prior to recruitment to ensure proper and apt hiring? If yes, kindly mention one or two measures of such analytics use cases if you have come across. Yeah, so I think a lot of companies today, what they're doing is that apart from looking at the CV, they are using a lot of assessment platforms, right? So there are assessment platforms, right from technology assessment platforms, which helps assess your technical skills, which is really for IT resources. And then there are platforms which do a lot of behavioral assessment, personality assessment, right? And then so you and again, these are some very exciting, innovative things. I've come across a platform called Talent Litmus. You play a game there, right? It's very exciting. On a mobile, you play a game. You don't really know you're being assessed, and you play a game for about 30 minutes. At the end of the day, at the end of it, the prospective employer will get a report which will tell you your suitability for a particular role, right? So it's amazing how assessments can become so engaging. They were so boring once upon a time, but they can be so engaging, and they're able to accurately tell you your suitability for a particular role. So I think that's really one example that I can actually give you. Let me see if there are any other questions. Yeah, nothing as of now. So then perhaps we can move on to,
Thomas, other than HRMS, which is like we said, given for any good company today, payroll, HRMS, systems are there.
Yeah.
The other systems which you talked about, like, Talent Litmus or, assessing an individual or, how to source an individual, how to have a chat box, talking to candidates and shortlisting candidates. All this technology, is there a marketplace for it? Is there a place where people can go and hunt for this technology and say, okay, these are available and let me, pick and choose and look at them?
Yeah, there may not be a marketplace, an organized marketplace in India, but some of the HRMS companies have a marketplace. But if anybody wants any further specific information, they can just, reach out to me. I'm happy to provide them a list of companies, which do that. As I mentioned, HR technology in India is still evolving. It's still very early stage because a lot of companies in India are looking at basic automation, right? Yes. They haven't gone beyond basic automation, and that market itself is massive. People are still using Excel sheets and paper and pen and so on for a lot of things. But having said that, as I said before, progressive companies have crossed that hurdle. They're looking at stuff which is, cutting edge, which is really next generation. There is no one marketplace in India where you can go and say that, look, there are marketplaces around the world, but not one common place in India where you can go and say, I want something in talent acquisition. What are the top 10, right? No, there's nothing in India as of now. Hopefully there will be something which will come up. But I think if you do a Google search, you will get some of the best of breed players today.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. So moving on to the third big trend that I see happening, and this is again very close to my heart. It's the fact that employee experience is now a corporate strategy and no longer just an HR strategy, right? So you said about everything about employees, it was all about HR. No, today it's a corporate strategy. And that's really the third big trend that I see happening. And this is, for the last 18 months or so, we've seen work from home, work from anywhere, now to a hybrid employee. And this has really brought employees to the forefront. For the first time, employees have come totally to the forefront of organizations, to the extent that a lot of companies are saying today it is employees first and customers second. Isn't that amazing? We always set customers first and then we'll think about our employees later. But a lot of companies are now saying we need to first think about our employees and then think about our customers. And why is that so? Because actually, employee satisfaction and customer satisfaction are two sides of the same coin, right? Because unless you have satisfied employees, you will never have satisfied customers. That's really a given. And therefore, people are now looking at a comprehensive employee experience platforms, which really tracks every moment of the employee's journey in the organization to really check their mood, to really look at what's happening. But more importantly, signal to action. What is the action that we need to take? So we get feedback from employees, but we need to take quick action. So I think organizations are rising to that particular challenge. They're looking at how different employee segments need to be treated, how different employee journeys need to be looked at, and overall, what's the kind of resources that are required for really tracking and managing this. So really, voice of the employee is really a critical piece as far as organizations are concerned. And so it's about employee sentiment, employee feedback, and some of these things that I spoke about. I just want to again talk a little bit about what Josh Bersin said, and he said that look, employee listening should be made a cultural value and not something one-off. And you have to look at multiple channels. There are different channels through which employees communicate. So you have to track all those channels. And you have to take a product management approach and not just a one-off approach. That is, what are all the pieces of information coming from the employees and how do we put it into our roadmap? So it's really taking a product manager's approach to really employee listening. Now, isn't that really amazing the way, the thought process is really evolving? And AI, artificial intelligence, is going to become a very, very critical factor as far as tracking the culture is concerned. And here I just wanted to talk about a very exciting startup that I came across, which I think was quite amazing. I mean, there are lots of global platforms like Qualtrics and Peakon and Glint and so on. But I wanted to really talk for the next minute about a company called Infido, who built a very nice, very exciting journey for employees. They have an artificial intelligence bot, which they call Amber, which is positioned as the smart assistant of the CEO. And Amber meets with employees on a regular basis, right from day 0 to day 15, 30, 60, 90, 180, and so on and so forth. And Amber would ask about 5 questions and in each of these interactions and would show empathy, So based on the kind of answer that you have, she would show empathy. If you had a negative view, then she would ask a question to clarify that question, right? And then actually move along. So the questions are unique to the stage of your life cycle in the company, and also to the seniority that you have in the organization and the kind of role that you have. Additionally, Amber also reaches out to you at moments that matter, which is, for instance, soon after appraisal time, maybe after an employee gets a new role or gets a new supervisor and so on. And there's tons of analytics that comes out of this. For instance, it really shows you the sentiment of the organization. It shows you how engagement is happening across different demographics. And it also extracts sentiments from the words that you use. So there's lots of data analytics that's coming out of all this, which helps the HR team to take proactive action. It also helps them prevent potential attrition, that's from actually happening. So this is another very exciting space, and I would be very interested to know from our audience about if you are looking and tracking if your organizations are using some such technologies, and there's some real cool data analytics which actually comes out of all this. So that's really the third area that I wanted to touch upon. The fourth area that I feel which is very exciting is that learning and development will be disrupted. It's never going to be like it was before. See, because what's really important is that it's not your job which is important, but it's really the roles that you perform, the projects that you do, and the specific action that you take against those projects that really matter. So what companies are really looking for are capabilities. And against these capabilities, they're looking for specific skills. So now we're going to see in technologies like what we call as skills engines, right? Skill engines, skill taxonomy, competency frameworks. Those are going to be the buzzwords as far as learning is concerned, because this is something which is constantly evolving. So let me take an example of competency framework. So, for example, if you take a sales manager, right? Sales manager has a competition. One of the capabilities for a sales manager is negotiation, right? And what are the skills that are required to be a good negotiator? I mean, you need to be a good listener. You need to be a good communicator. You need to have the ability to do competitive research, to understand pricing models, ROI calculation, and so on. So today, technology is able to track on an ongoing basis, existing skills and new skills required for a particular role or for an emerging role, right? And that's all linked to learning. So if I take a practical example, I know of a very good platform called iCog, which is a learning experience platform. And they've built a competency framework. And then they use AI to be able to source and curate content, both from free and from paid resources, to really match it to the employee's skills and the kind of specific requirement for an employee, so that employee can really gain that particular knowledge around it. And over a period of time, the AI engine gets more and more sophisticated. Likewise, the other concept which is hot today is learning in the flow of work, which is that you want information and you want to learn as you work, which means when you're stuck with a problem, you want to be able to learn something to be able to address it. And then you also want some long-term learning. So there's a lot of learning which is called micro learning, which is more for short-term intervention to help you overcome a specific problem. And then there is more structured learning, which is a course or a curriculum or a classroom session, which is more for building your knowledge. So all that is also happening constantly. And as I mentioned before, employee skills are constantly being monitored through the AI engine, because as part of learning, there are constant assessments also being done. And then the engine also is able to tell you about how learning is linked to performance and how it is also linked to engagement. So it's a very exciting area. And I've seen a huge change in learning technologies in the last 3 years. A lot of companies have come and gone, but there's a whole lot of new technologies which are actually emerging. The other area which is very exciting and emerging is this entire space which is linked to learning, is what I call as talent development and talent mobility. Because learning is not just about going through a curriculum or getting some micro learning. It's also about applying that learning, right? And it's also about who can help you in that journey. So there are some very exciting new platforms that are emerging. This is all new age HR tech, which is emerging. And I came across an Australia-based company called Zictel, run by an Indian entrepreneur, actually, Indian origin. So they have built a platform for mentoring, wherein you can get mentored by internal resources or external resources to be able to build up your skills on one hand. Then you can also do gig projects. So for example, today you have a day job, right, which you do for your KRAs, but you also need to show the initiative to take on or do projects which help you in your job, right? And for doing that particular project, you want to be able to understand who are the people you can collaborate with in your organization. So the platform tells you who are these people with skill sets across different geographies with whom you can collaborate. So you can do gig projects with them. There are experts available within the organization with whom you can connect, and you can also connect with leaders. So these are all, new age, collaborative tools that are available for people to take their learning to the next level, to be able to engage, and for organizations to become far, far more productive. So that's the other thing that's happening, and it'll be great to hear from the audience in terms of some of the technologies that you people are deploying in your organizations. And And finally, let me come to another thing which I touched upon in some of the other areas. But the fifth area really is that people analytics and insights are going to be a game changer for sure, right? Today, people analytics is perhaps one of the biggest topics in the HR world. And it is one of the fastest growing subdomains in the HR profession. Now, did you know that 25% of organizations around the world are actually hiring into this position? I mean, during my corporate days, HR was more of a backroom position function. I mean, we didn't even think about analytics, but today, analytics is such a hot area in HR. And for a lot of HR professionals around the world, it is a very, very high priority area. And a lot of people are building skills professionally so that they can professionally call themselves as analytics professionals in the HR space. But what we also need to know about this is that it is also a moving target. Now, there are lots of technologies out there which is making analytics easier. But at the same time, the number of data sets and the scope of problems that we are trying to solve is also rapidly increasing. So this makes it very complex. Also, the fact that HR tech and work tech is sort of merging together is increasing, the kind of data sets that you need to look at. So, and the correlations that you need to build. So it's getting really very, very complex. So gone are the days when you could just have a dashboard or some set of reports which would address your and help you. Analytics has really moved to the next level, and I spoke about some platforms earlier. So if you really look at the people analytics maturity model, there are 4 phases that organizations go through. First is a reactive phase, which is more, getting some general reports and so on. And a lot of companies honestly are in that phase, are in phase 1 as far as analytics go, as far as HR analytics go. Then there is the proactive phase, which is really some level of operational reporting like dashboards, which will help you to some level of decision making. The third is a little more strategic, which is, giving you more insights for taking decisions. And the level 4 is really predictive, which is really going to show you what are some trends that you can see based on the past that's happened. And therefore, what are some clear proactive action steps you need to take, which to really, address some of those trends. So I spoke about Activate. We were doing, some fantastic work in the space, by really presenting analytics and insights in simple English, making it actionable. And therefore, it is really more practical for people to execute, because a lot of companies, one of the big complaints they have is that we've got all this data, but we really don't know what to do with it. We are drowned in that data. So you need to have technologies like Activate, which will help you convert that into something that you can take action on without really trying to analyze it yourself. So I think, so sort of just to summarize, the 5 key trends. As I said, in 2021, we will see a war for new talent. We will see HRMS platforms continue to grow, but they will need to redefine themselves. Thirdly, employee experience is now a corporate strategy and not an HR strategy. Fourthly, learning and development will be disrupted. And finally, very importantly, people analytics and insights will be a game changer. So friends, I hope you found that interesting. If you have any questions, I am happy to take them.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Really interesting. There's one question for you. Can HR analytics be employed to monitor background reference check frauds?
Well, background reference check frauds is obviously a big issue because people can even the CV, for example, so why a background? Even the CV that people present is something which people can curate themselves. So there's a lot of scope for fraud there. Today there are professional organizations which do background checks. And over a period of time, in fact, I know overseas and perhaps even in India, there are blockchain-based platforms that are getting set up. So when you have something on the blockchain, then you have original certificates, everything is going to be in original. And therefore, the ability of people to make those alterations will be very difficult. And anybody will be able to access it at any point in time. So it will be, in the past, it's been easy for people to do a lot of fraud. But the way organizations have been addressing it is by doing assessments. So the assessment market is really taken off to ensure that, hey, you may have had these great things on your CV, but you have flunked your assessment. So you don't fit the bill. But yes, blockchain-based platforms is the way to go as far as background reference checks are concerned, to ensure that you have original credentials available, and those credentials then cannot be altered.
Right. Any other questions for Thomas, please? I think, Thomas, I don't find any questions, but I think what we can do is, Thomas, if you could just type out your email ID in the chat box. Maybe, people want to write to you, they can write to you separately.
Yeah.
And also, you can write to us and we'll pass it on to Thomas. Anytime you want to get in touch with him, he would be available to all of you.
Yeah.
So his email ID is, just type it out, thomas@t-ventures.in. So I think, you can all write to him if you want. Since we do not have any questions, Thomas, let me thank you. It's been a wonderful session. It's been really enlightening for me, because HR has really taken off, and there's a lot of a long journey for many of the companies. You talked about IT companies. Of course, they are people intensive. They have the technology. They have bought into technology. They are at the forefront. But if you look at a lot of other companies in the country, they have still to catch up, because they are still trying to perfect their HRMS systems. So I think there's a lot of scope for HR technology in the country. And what is more interesting is, as you spoke and as we have discussed earlier in a number of sessions, there are a lot of Indian companies who are developing a lot of HR tech, which can be used in India, and which can also be exported or delivered to other countries around the world. I think, and you specialize in that. You are actually helping HR tech companies go to the US. So I think that's really great, which is coming out. If there are no other questions, then there's one small pleasant task. I think I did not read out in his biodata, but I think Thomas plays the guitar really well, and he sings songs. If you look at his profile photo anywhere, I think he's very happy not to show himself as a professional here, like he's sitting here today, but show him playing the guitar always. So Thomas has sent us a 2-minute clip of his song with the guitar. So if Thomas, if you're game, then I'll request Jairam to play that for all of us before.
Absolutely. This is the season of festivity, Diwali around the corner. I'm wearing a colorful shirt to set the mood for Diwali, the festivities. And this is the time for all of us to be joyous and happy. And I wish everybody a happy Diwali in advance as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Thomas. I think a great flamingo shirt which you put on. So I think, Jairam, let's have, let's hear Thomas, because Thomas recorded that video and sent it to us so that it is clear on Zoom, there are no interruptions. So Jairam, let's hear Thomas.
Yes, just doing it, please.
संभालो मुझको बुरा ये जादू तेरी आंखों का, ये मेरा कातिल हो गया। गुलाबी आंखें जो तेरी देखी, शराबी ये दिल हो गया। संभालो मुझको मेरे यारों, संभलना मुश्किल हो गया। मैंने सदा चाहा यही, दामन बचा लूं हसीनों से मैं। तेरी कसम ख्वाबों में भी पट्टा फेरा नाज़नीनों से मैं। तौबा मगर मिल गई तुझसे नजर, मिल गया दर्द जिगर। सुन जरा ओ बेखबर, जरा से हंस के जो देखा तूने, मैं तेरा बिस्मिल हो गया। गुलाबी आंखें जो तेरी देखी, शराबी ये दिल हो गया। संभालो मुझको ओ मेरे यारों, संभलना मुश्किल हो गया।
Great, Thomas. Great. Thank you very much. I think the audio quality was not all that great, but still,
Yeah.
I know I have heard Thomas in person, so I think he sings really great.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much, Thomas, for being with us today, for sharing knowledge about HR tech and analytics, and also
Right.
for this video, for the music that you played for us, and also
Yeah.
all the good wishes for Diwali. And
Yeah, thank
also, I also extend good wishes and all the very best to all our participants and to you in this festive season. I also welcome all the participants to join us next week on next Wednesday, 3rd November. We are having a special Diwali session where Satish Shenoy will join us and speaking about analytics. So I think I wish everybody all the very best in the festive season. And thank you once again, Thomas, for this session. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.